Are you someone who's new to tabletop role-playing games, but take a look at a 366-page, 279-card system and get a little overwhelmed? It's okay. That sometimes happens to us too. But in order to ease your worries about joining a game of Critical Role's new Daggerheart system, we've made this video just for you. This is Teaching My Parents How to Roleplay. Not like that. Now I'm here with my dad.
Hi, everybody.
And this is probably going to be a little bit quicker because my dad has been saying for years the type of character he would be in one of these games. This one would be a lot quicker because this is also a good example of the other optional way to kind of make a character if you have an idea of it in your head already when you come into it, how you can kind of fit it into the rules and things like that, just based on what you want to do before you even set foot into the books or things like that. What is the type of character you want to make that you've been telling me for years?
For years, I've been saying I would like to be a warrior wizard.
Yeah, so I've already gone ahead and printed out this wizard character sheet. The classes in this Daggerheart system are based off of various schools for spells and abilities and such. So the wizard is based off of Codex and Splendor. We're gonna walk through it like we did with my mom yesterday for actually how to fill this in. But this is the other approach to making a character, is having the idea first and then fitting it into what's available. So here's your wizard sheet. We have
Thank you.
Mom's warrior here from yesterday, just in case, but we'll flip to the character creation page that you can reference with all the steps, and instead of using the printed sheets and all that stuff, we'll go ahead and just look at the book today for the stuff you got to fill in.
Okay.
So, if you want to step through the 9 steps, we'll pull things when we need. There are the cards that go specific to your class and abilities and all that stuff. So, as you mention that you need a card or something, I'll pull them from here, and we'll make you a little character.
I'll follow your lead. So number 1, it says choose a class.
Very obviously known class, warrior, wizard. You are going to get the foundation card. There are 2 subclasses: the usual School of Knowledge and then School of War, which is for any of the tougher looking wizards out there. So you would probably be a School of War wizard, or I guess if you want to be a cool fighting wizard that maybe
I have a feeling that
meet the Hobbit or 2.
Yeah, I have a feeling that I'll be fighting.
Here is your foundation card for School of War. This tells you all of the base stuff that is listed here in the School of War item, but when you travel and want to bring this character around, you don't have to bring the book itself. Once you make this, you bring your cards that apply to your character and your character sheet, and you have all your information. Includes Battle Mage, which means you focus your studies on becoming an unconquerable force on the battlefield, gain an additional hit point slot. So, right off the bat, we can look at our character sheet. You have HP here and a certain amount based on your class. Right. So there are the lined ones. If you just outline that one, that means you have that extra one available. So you, as a wizard, will have, 6 HP compared to the starting 5. And then you have Face Your Fear. When you succeed with fear on an attack roll, you deal an extra 1d10 of magic damage. That's cool. That's pretty cool.
I'm a scary wizard.
Next step is choose a heritage.
Choose a heritage.
For your character, what would you think you'd like your ancestry to be?
I would think human.
Human?
Would be my ancestry.
All right. So go ahead and take your human card. Human. So you have your human card. Most easily recognized by their dexterous hands, rounded ears, and bodies built for endurance. With high stamina, so you gain an additional stress slot. Character creation. So the stress right underneath hope, you box that one out as well. And then adaptability. When you fail a roll that utilized one of your experiences, you can mark a stress to re-roll. That's awesome. That's one part of heritage. The other part is your community. In the book, they have them listed across multiple pages. Any of those stick out?
I'm feeling Wildborn.
Wildborn? You get a community feature called Lightfoot. Your movement is naturally silent. You have advantage on rolls to move without being heard. Wildborn? Sound
Okay.
good?
Yeah.
So you have Lightfoot, means you lived deep within the forest. That's your number 2. Choose heritage.
All right. Number 3, assign character traits.
It says you have the values -1, 0, 0, +1, and +2. So those you can assign to any of the traits at the top of your sheet. There's, agility, strength, finesse, instinct, presence, and knowledge. I didn't mention this yesterday too, but if you want, you can place these wherever, but if you need help or want a suggestion of where to put them, the second sheet for your wizard at the top has suggested traits.
Right.
So they suggest a way that you can put those numbers across your stats if you would like some help, but you can put them honestly wherever.
Well, I think he's obviously got to have knowledge, so that would be
The highest thing to be knowledge, you would add +2 there.
so right in this big box here.
Yes, yeah, in that like banner shield thing.
So +2.
He does have moments where he's like, he just goes quiet and just like feels the world and is like, something is off.
Right. A wizard got to be able to I would think maybe an elf might have more instinct, but I think a wizard still has pretty good instinct. Finesse is a 0, and then a -1 for presence.
Not really a charming wizard, or
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have to be so much charming as he does being able to.
and he's like okay with control too. Seeing how he deals with the hobbits.
Yeah.
Fool of a took.
So, yeah, I think that pretty much sums up what I would think he would be.
Very cool. Step 4, record your character information. Next, record your starting evasion, which on the sheet, it has right underneath in the top left, it says evasion. It says start at 11, so you can put an 11 in there.
But an 11, okay.
Evasion's like how easily it is to hit. Additionally, gain 2 hope to start the game. So underneath where it says hope on the left side, there are the little diamonds. So if you slash off 2 of them.
Where it says hope.
There,
okay.
So slash off 2 of them. Those are 2 hope slots that you can use for various things. Sometimes spells require hope. Sometimes different abilities require you to spend a hope to do something. Sometimes they require a stress, so that's why you also are tracking stress.
Right.
But I guess that depends on the class you take. But so that's number 4, nice and quick. Then we move to choose starting equipment. You get a primary weapon and a secondary weapon. So they have wonderful little tables that you can flip through that list off like tier 1 physical and magical weapons. So you get to pick one from here and one from either of these. And then we'll switch to the secondary weapons table.
I would think he'd want to have a sword and a staff.
There's the quarterstaff that's listed here. There might be a sword or a blade at least on the secondary, but I don't know if there's a quarterstaff on the secondary. So secondary weapons, short sword. So it could have a short sword. Yeah, there's no staff for the secondary. So if you want to do a quarterstaff as primary and then a short sword as secondary, we could do that.
All right, so primary.
Primary is quarterstaff.
I write it here.
Yes. And then we need to write the details down. So trait and range. The trait is instinct, and range is melee. Your damage dice and type. So quarterstaff does D10 plus 3 physical. So that means if you roll an attack with your 2d12 and you hit, you'll pick up a d10, and then you have the ability to, if you succeed with fear, you can add another d10 to that, which is crazy. So the other one is short sword. So on the secondary, you can write short sword. Your trait is agility and range is melee. It's 1d8 physical.
D8.
So you do actually also have a feature with this. This one has a feature called paired. So you can write paired and then +2 to primary weapon damage to targets within melee range. That's crazy.
Paired +2.
So +2 to primary weapon damage. That's crazy. And I think they're both one-handed, so you can like dual wield both, like he does. This is actually a pretty good build in Daggerheart. If you were to go into battle, you have your spells available because you're a wizard, but also this quarterstaff. If you hit and succeed with fear, you get to roll your normal d10, add a d10 to it, plus 3 that is already given to you, and because you're pairing it with a short sword, you get to add 2 extra damage, so it really becomes plus 5, which is crazy. The second part of Step 5 is to take one of the available options for starting armor and record it in the appropriate spaces. Your armor comes with its own damage thresholds and base armor score. Record this alongside your section under active armor. Add your thresholds to your level and record those numbers under the damage and health. There are armor tables in our book here. Tier 1 is what you can look at when making a character. There's Gambeson armor, I think is how you say it. There's drawings as well at the bottom if you want to, I guess, understand a little bit better. Leather armor, which is the usual metric pieces of leather, chainmail, and full plate that you can choose from.
I would think the chainmail.
Chainmail? Like under his robes, he's got like a layer of chainmail.
Yeah. I would think so.
You can mark active armor, chainmail. You do have a feature, so underneath where it says feature, you can write heavy. You get a -1 to evasion. Your base thresholds, chainmail is 7/15, and base score is 4. Starting inventory, so this is the last section of the 5th step. Starting inventory for your class is listed on your character guide. That is your second sheet that you have. At the top, inventory, it says you get a torch, 50 feet of rope, basic supplies, and a handful of gold. You have to then choose between a minor health potion or a minor stamina potion. Health regenerates your HP, and stamina regenerates your stress.
I would say health.
Okay, so you can circle that or mark that. And then you get either a book you're trying to translate or a tiny, harmless elemental pet.
Let's go with the pet.
What elemental little pet do you think your character would have?
I would think he would have. It's gotta be tiny though, right?
Yeah, little or dog-sized, if you want.
I would think a bird.
Bird. Very nice. What element do you think your bird would be? Because it's an elemental pet. That's going to be this bird type. You know, fire, wind, or fire, air, earth, water.
Well, it's a bird, so probably air, I would think.
All right. Very cool.
So, all right, air down here too.
Sure. Little air bird you can summon. And then you decide what you carry your spells in. So it gives some example here, like large tomes, tarot cards, etc. I don't think Gandalf has like a book that he keeps his stuff in. He just kind of casts them. Do you want it to be like
mind,
his pipe?
Your mind, or
You could do your
hat?
Your hat's a good one. I like that. It's just like a Rolodex of spells in your hat.
Okay.
That's cool. All right, so that's step 5. Inventory done. Now we're going to create your background. So you're going to make description choices from the available options in your character guide. Those are the middle section on your left. Or you can create your own. It'll help you start to build out your character's look and attitude, etc. You can use those as a jumping off point to build out your character's history.
Right. So the first one says, what responsibilities did your community once count on you for, and how did you let them down?
Oh. So as a wild-born living deep in the forest, what do you think?
I think being that he was originally human, but he was born wild living in the forest, and over time became this fighting wizard, I think that his presence in the community, his reliability as a member of the community, ongoing, is what he didn't give them. He was more out in the woods, more learning things, and was not there when he needed to be.
Okay, so he kind of left the community to be its own thing, having this power to potentially help them, and chose not to.
Right,
he chose the woods and learning his own stuff instead.
Right, he could have been a full-out human and that way, but he decided to go this direction.
Right. Very cool. Yeah, a lot of times, like the wildborn communities, being in the woods and stuff, you're helping hunt or gather or that sort of thing, surviving. But he chose to go off into the woods, maybe.
Yeah, kind of a little reclusive, a little bit
Yeah.
on its own.
Awesome. So what is our next question?
All right, you spent your life searching for a book or object of great significance. What is it, and why is it important to you?
Wait. There were markings. It's some form of Elvish.
I think there's a pretty good
Well,
thing you want, but if you want to go similar storyline sake.
No, I mean, since it's not that, I don't necessarily want to go that. Maybe some kind of like a mysterious, an orb that kind of tells things, visually, or that's what I would think he was looking for.
Right, it's a very powerful orb.
You have a very powerful rival. Who are they, and why are you determined to defeat them?
Also very unknown.
Again, it could be
anyone. It's fantasy. But you make it up.
Could be one thing or another, but let's see. A powerful rival would be an evil queen.
Evil queen.
And why are you determined to defeat them for good?
Let's create your background. Pretty easy. Three questions. And then create your experiences. I think this is a super fun part. This is a part that a lot of people have been a little confused on too. I usually equate it to make it a little easier for people to picking like a line from a movie or something that can be applied to your character. You can choose something that applies to like something maybe you do in combat, and then another one that is potentially more social.
What is it that I'm looking for here for this character?
So these are experiences that your character has been through, and you can apply to certain situations, specific situations, because your character has either like lived through it or has experienced it before through different either battle or social interactions.
And it should be something like from a movie or something.
It doesn't necessarily have to. I find it easier for people to relate to like a line from a movie with their characters, because you can go through the Rolodex of various lines, and then you can apply it how you see fit. You also don't want these to be too specific, so then you only can use them like
I think
once in a while.
Yeah, I think one of them would definitely be "Say hello to my little friend."
Very nice.
Say hello to my little friend!
And I do a second one as well?
Yes, you get 2 at first level.
I think the second one would be you talking to me.
You talking to me? Well, then who the hell else are you talking to? Talking to me? Well, I'm the only one here.
Those are your 2 experiences. We've got say hello to my little friend and you talking to me.
They both are. I'm getting ready to rip you a new one. Kind of.
Both in battle and in discussion.
Yeah.
We now are going to be looking at your domain deck cards. So these are your spells. So you get Codex and Splendor. So these are your level 1s for Splendor. Level 1, here are your other 3 options. So you choose 2 total from those 6.
I'm thinking Book of Ava and Bolt Beacon. So where do I record those?
So that's the thing, you don't. You just take these cards with you, and that's your spells. Create your connections is our last step. So ask any of the connection questions in your character sheet to guide other players at the table, or you can generate your own. You can use this as an opportunity to discuss how all your characters met. Usually this would be with like another player or the rest of your party. For now, we can, like we did yesterday, I said, we can make a seraph or something that you also are traveling with. We'll do a druid. We'll do another human druid. Also wears a very pointy cap, sort of lives with the creatures.
Yeah. So first question is, what favor have I asked of you that you're not sure you can fulfill? And this is that I can't fulfill, or that the druid can't fulfill?
That the druid will say can't fulfill.
What do you think? Like always having my back?
that he can't fulfill, so he can't always have your back.
Right, because sometimes he's out with his
Got his own
animals,
stuff.
and he's got, but sometimes he shows up and he's there.
Sure. Kind of like that. As in, like, I know during the, like, really bad parts, he probably will show up.
Right.
Won't be there all the time.
What weird hobby or strange fascination do we both share? Well, out in nature, so.
Could be, yeah, the available magic of nature.
Nature.
Both the little recluse of your Wildborn society.
What secrets about yourself have you only entrusted to me? Maybe I'm usually good unless you get on my bad side.
Ooh, I kind of like that. Start getting a little mean. Get on your bad side. It's anyone's game.
Then you're gonna get a bolt beacon.
Then you're gonna get a bolt beacon on you. The one thing we did skip earlier, there is the last section of finally name your character and choose what pronouns they use. Do you have a name for your character? This is usually the hardest part.
About Galen.
Galen. Very nice.
Galen.
Galen. So, we now have Galen. What do you think with the human look and wizarding stuff? What do you think Galen would look like?
Yeah, looks like this guy's carrying a sword.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a crossbow, but that could be a staff very easily.
Yeah, very true. So you would have the like long beard sort of.
Yeah,
what do you think he'd look like?
I think so. Yeah, long beard, pointy hat, big cloak, the chainmail underneath it.
That's pretty cool. Kind of like that look of.
Then the sword tucked in and carries the staff.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. What color would he be wearing? Robes, or would it be patterned or a single color?
No, I would think it would be a single color.
Would it be gray or white?
No, I'm thinking kind of like a dark blue.
Ooh, that's very cool. Dark blue robes with the like shiny chainmail underneath. Awesome. So we now have Galen, a wizard with dark bluish robes with chainmail and a wizarding hat, staff, and short sword. That is a Wildborn, so grew up in the forests. School of War, so fighting, sort of casting and stuff like that, with a quarterstaff and a short sword. Kind of like him.
Kind of want him fighting on your side.
Oh yeah, yeah. That was a crazy. So I don't think a ton of the weapons do like this type of build. At some points, would do 2d10 plus 5 damage, which is crazy. That's a lot of damage, especially so if you crit in this game, you start out with the max amount of damage you can do as your base amount. So It would be 25 is what you would start with, and then you would roll the dice too to see what you get. So let's say you get like a 7 and a 3 from your 2d10 if you got higher with fear. So that is 10 and 5, so that'd be 25 plus another 15 on top of it, which is what, 40?
40.
So you'd be doing 40 damage in one hit of a crit with your quarterstaff if you did that. Thanks for making your character.
Yeah, that was interesting to see all the different pieces to it.
Was there? Did you enjoy the process? Was it simple? Were there confusing parts?
Yeah, I mean there were certainly parts that being a novice to a newer game, that's something that I don't have experience with. So I want to make sure I'm doing things correctly.
Mm-hmm.
But it's pretty easily laid out and pretty well spelled out in the creation descriptions, so easy enough to follow.
Cool. Did you have any lingering questions or quarrels with how it was laid out or something like that?
No, I think as far as that goes, I mean, I would have to start playing the game with him to I think understand more of what he's capable of and kind of damage he takes for different things and so on.
General feel of the system, because you don't really know how hope and stress applies or something like that yet.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with him.
Did you like how the system was laid out? Was it? Did it seem interesting? Like we did look at a couple of the other options, like as my mom was doing it, and the night that I first got here. So, what did you think of like the other interesting options that kind of like there's the classic rogue and druid, and but like the guardian is new. That's kind of like their general martial fighter.
Right.
And the fungal people and
Yeah, I think it's
rivets.
interesting. It's interesting how they split them up, and some of it is familiar and some of it is new. So I think that it's fun to kind of learn about those other options that there are out there.
Yeah, awesome.
So
Well, thanks for making a character. Maybe
yeah,
at some point
it
in the
was fun.
future, I'll visit again and we'll see Rita and Galen again. Maybe
Yeah.
in a story format or something. Um, but yeah, very cool.
Good.
Uh,
Glad to do it.
Thanks for letting me stay again.
Anytime. Mom had a great time. I did too, but
Glad you can make a character finally after years of telling me you'd be a fighter wizard.
yes, now he exists.
Yes, now he's out there in the world of Daggerheart.
Thank you.
Guys for watching. Thanks for making a character. And we'll see you at the next video. I don't know if I'm going to use this ending or the one with my mom. Maybe I'll put both in. We'll see later.
Fly, you fools!